Welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about Anomaly in Zenless Zone Zero and how it all works. With Jane Doe releasing fairly soon and her being our third Anomaly agent, things could get pretty crazy, and I'm going to show you why. Whether it's Elden Ring, Pokemon, or even your favorite roguelite, status effects are typically quite fun and allow players to fight enemies in unique ways. And that's no different in Zenless Zone Zero. First off, let's explain what Anomaly actually is. And that is basically status effects that are the result of enough elemental buildup of a specific type of element. In Zenless, we have 5 current elements. They consist of physical, fire, ice, shock, and ether. Each of these, when allowed to reach its maximum buildup, would trigger a status effect or anomaly, much like hemorrhage triggers in Elden Ring with enough bleed buildup. Let's look at physical, for example. In this example, I will use Piper, who is a physical anomaly agent. If I hit the enemy, you will see on the right side of its health bar that there is a yellow circle building up. This is showing the application of the physical element, and it's building up to a physical anomaly known as Assault, with a flinch mechanic that we will get into later. Now, Assault once procced does a huge amount of physical damage and will also reset the elemental buildup circle. This means you have successfully triggered an anomaly. Congratulations! But wait, there is more. You also triggered flinch, which is why the enemy is now glowing yellow. This means the enemy takes more daze damage, around 10% to be exact, as long as this glow remains, which is around 10 seconds. Each element and anomaly work in a similar fashion. Ice element builds up to trigger freeze, which will stop the enemy from moving completely. Once hit, the enemy will shatter, doing more ice damage as well as applying frostbite, which will now increase the amount of critical damage the enemy receives, much like flinch increases the daze from an assault proc. On the other hand, fire element builds up to trigger burn, which will leave a dot or damage over time effect with a pretty high tick rate of dealing damage one time every 0.5 seconds for 10 seconds. Credit to Reddit user Arkkus for jotting all this down in a document, which I will post in the description if you are interested in seeing and or learning about the exact values of each anomaly. Next up, the electric element builds up to trigger shock, which will also leave a shocking-like effect on the target, meaning it will take a single proc of shock damage when hit on a 1-second cooldown. Also, no puns were intended in the making of this video. And last but not least, we have ether. Ether element builds up to trigger corruption, which will act the same as shock. Doing damage to a corrupted enemy will proc a single instance of ether damage on a 1-second cooldown. Now that we know what each element and its associated anomaly does, how exactly do we lean into building agents to get the most out of these anomalies? Well, for that, we need to look at the 2 anomaly stats provided in game, and those are Anomaly Mastery and Anomaly Proficiency. Anomaly Mastery is basically status effect buildup rate. This allows you to get the anomaly proc faster and is recommended if you feel like your anomalies aren't proccing fast enough. Now let's talk about Proficiency. Anomaly Proficiency is basically status effect damage. This is very straightforward, as the more proficiency you build into, the bigger the actual anomaly proc will be. This is very important for anomaly agents, as it ties directly into the amount of damage they can do when they proc their anomaly. With that being said, however, it is just as important for non-anomaly agents, and that is because of disorder. Now this part can be a bit tricky, so pay close attention. So far, we have covered what each element in Zenless currently is, what happens when you build up enough of each element on an enemy, and briefly how to build into those elemental procs known as anomalies. But what happens when we mix more than one anomaly? Well, we get... That's right, disorder occurs. So, to better explain, disorder is when a target already inflicted with an anomaly comes into contact with another anomaly. The first anomaly is dissolved and a silver damage number appears. This number is the damage of the first anomaly that was on the target, and it takes into account how much time was remaining on that anomaly before it was dissolved. After the interaction occurs, then the secondary anomaly that caused the disorder is now left on the target, and that is the new first anomaly. If you're a bit confused, then I will play this clip in slow motion. First, Grace applies shock, then Piper applies assault. This causes a disorder, but if you look closely, the enemy is now gold instead of blue, meaning the shock was dissolved and now the assault has taken over and left behind flinch. Now, if the gears are already turning in your head, then you're probably wondering what happens if we reapply shock before the flinch wears out. Well, if you thought there would be another disorder, then you were correct. However, something is off. Why was Grace's disorder value smaller than Piper's? That is because when a disorder procs, it takes into account the stats of the first anomaly and not the second. So Piper's disorder value is depending upon Grace's stats, such as attack, pin, and anomaly proficiency, including any buffs she may have had at the moment when she procced the anomaly, while Grace's disorder is depending upon Piper's stats and buffs, and Piper's, as shown here, is a lot lower in all areas than Grace. And this is why Jane, being our third anomaly character, could be insane. So usually, you want to pause one anomaly before it finishes building up so that the character with the higher stats and proficiency goes first before the character with the lowest. Well, with 3 anomaly agents, that won't be necessary. Anomaly agents excel at building the status effect very, very fast, as well as having high innate proficiency, making it easier to build into among their other stats. So imagine 3 agents with close to or above 300 proficiency with no need to invest in crit and crit rate, as anomalies cannot crit. Then it won't matter who procs the disorder. This, in my opinion, will be extremely strong and make disorder teams very smooth to play, as the loop won't require pausing anymore, since it won't matter who goes first or second, and in Jane's case, even third. And the generation of status effects will be completely off the charts. Now, with that being said, this is about all I have to share with you about Anomaly. I hope you learned something and or simply enjoyed the video. Remember that there are actual calculations to this information in the description below. Once again, credit to Arkkus, and if you would like to dive deeper into those calculations, go right ahead. If you feel like I forgot anything, feel free to comment down below and let me know, but that is it for today. Please leave a like and subscribe, as it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day.